My name is Sean Tenner. I'm the Democratic committeeman for the 46th Ward of Chicago, which includes the communities of Wrigleyville, Uptown, Lakeview, and Buena Park. I'm here as part of the 80, which is the Cook County Democratic Party's podcast series, where we get to know more about Democratic issues and Democratic candidates. So today, I'm going to be interviewing Judge Rena Marie Van Tine, who is the party's endorsed candidate for the June 28th primary for Circuit Court. Welcome, Judge Van Tine.
Good to be here, Sean.
So it's been a pleasure to get to know you over the course of the past year on the campaign trail. I must say you're one of the hardest working judicial candidates I've ever seen. You've been at this for, seems like well over a year. And I know when the primary was pushed back by 4 months, some people would have taken a break, but it seemed like you just kept pushing on. And here we are, 30 days out.
And I'm fortunate to be supported by you and the Democratic Party. So that has definitely made the efforts much easier.
Well, now is this your first time running for office?
It is not.
Okay. In this strange environment where we had the primary pushed back by those 3 months because of the redistricting and the census and COVID, it's been a campaign like none other. How is this year's campaign different to what you've seen in previous years, either as a volunteer or a candidate? I've never seen anything quite like it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it started off where we were aggressively looking for in-person events. There were many Zoom events that we were invited to attend, and they tried to take full advantage of that. But unlike I think previous campaigns where there might be 8 events going on per evening, in the early stages of the campaign, it wasn't like that. Now it seems to be a little bit more normal in that people are actually hungry for in-person events. There are a number of people, especially people who are not campaigning, that are just more recently venturing out to some of these larger venues. So, I've enjoyed reuniting with people that way.
Absolutely. I think it'll be interesting this year to see how many people take advantage of the vote by mail option versus early voting in person versus voting traditionally on election day. I know in
people have
some
options.
other states we have an increase in people voting early in person, whereas they may have voted by mail before. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yes, definitely.
And congratulations on the endorsement from the Indo-American Democratic Organization. That's a group I've really been impressed with. They've been doing such great work in the community for 40 years. And I know you were involved with them from the very beginning, correct?
I was involved before I became a judge. So I've been on the bench 21 years. But before that, I was actively engaged in Democratic politics. As a judge, you can't do the same things that you could as a regular lawyer. And so, yes, before I became a judge, I was joint treasurer of the Indo-American Democratic Organization. I was a Gore delegate to the Democratic National Convention. I was a co-founder and chair of the Women's Bar PAC, Willpower, and, just routinely would try to organize fundraisers for various candidates that I liked.
So you have a unique perspective, having seen the South Asian community, I think, become larger and more innovative in its involvement in politics and government. If you look back at the time, that time that you were involved, and you look at the way the organization and the community is involved now, have you seen any changes in addition to just a sort of a growth in numbers and activism?
Yeah, I think definitely the community has grown a lot, even, since I, immigrated to the United States. My mom was always dressed in a sari, and if she ever saw anybody in a sari in another the grocery store, she would just run right over and invite them over to dinner right away. So things have changed a lot. Now there's
Sure.
so many more people, there's different communities. And, when I was growing up, or even like when I was in law school, I had never heard of anything like an Indo-American Democratic Organization. But that particular group got put together by a number of people who worked for the city of Chicago who were Indian Americans, and it just grew and grew and grew from there. So it's a good thing.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, to keep any organization growing and thriving well, actually, it's been 42 years now. I mean, it's really impressive. And I've always noticed over the years that group, their events, it's one of the few events that is an absolute must do for everybody in politics in Cook County. From the top of the ticket to the bottom, everybody comes to those IADO events, and it's nice to see. I remember it was their event was the first one I ever went to after I became committeeman, and it was the first time to be handed a name tag that said honorable on it, which seemed very odd, very odd.
But easy to get used to.
Always a special place in my heart because of that. So of course, it's been great for my wife Shivali to get to know you over the course of
she is delightful. Campaign. She's absolutely delightful.
Thank you. And I think she and all of our viewers would be interested in knowing what was the path. I mean, you're the first South Asian woman to ever become judge in the United States. So what was the path from growing up in India to becoming a judge here in Chicago?
Yeah, well, when I set out, I didn't really set out to be like the first anything. Mm-hmm. I just really wanted to be a judge. Before that, most of my career had been in public service. So this was a natural extension of what I was doing before. When I was born in India, but grew up partly in India and partly in the United States.
What part of India?
I was born in Bangalore, which is the southern part of India.
Okay.
South. So, but I did move back. We moved like kind of back and forth, but I ended up going to high school here in the United States. And, I didn't really have people in my family that were lawyers. So when we were first here, my parents really encouraged me to go into medicine or engineering because those were, they thought that's where the jobs were. That would be easier to always have a job. Whereas something like law, they said, you don't really know anybody in the law. How are you?
Nobody sent.
Right? Yeah, exactly. But, I did okay because, I was in private practice and I'm being with the state's attorney's office. That was like a great network of people there. And, there are, I think, disproportionate number of lawyers who serve in the government that end up going to the bench. I mean, because I don't think anybody's in court more than, assistant state's attorneys, right, public defenders, corporation counsels. They're all in court all the time. And so just somewhere along the line, I just saw a number of colleagues become judges. And so I just thought, okay, that's the next natural step I should be taking in my career.
And in India itself, do you know roughly what are the percentage of judges that are female? Is it uncommon?
There are female judges there, including on the Supreme Court, but there are just fewer judges in general in India. We don't have a dual system like here, where it's federal, and that's a whole system leading into the U.S. Supreme Court, versus state, where each state has its own individual Supreme Court under a separate system. So in India, it's just one system. There is no election of judges. It's
Well,
like,
I'm not moving there then.
yeah, no, it's like one
That's what I
person.
live for.
Yeah, one person appoints everybody. So,
Really?
it's very different over there. So here, this is, everybody gets to weigh in. The people who we
Mhm.
serve actually decide who are going to be judges.
Interesting. And now I met your mother briefly at the filming of a campaign video. So tell me about her, and how did she inspire inspire you and your work? I'm sure she has a very interesting story, and I'm sure she's very proud of you. So I'd
Yeah,
love to
yeah.
hear
Like, I think,
about her role in your life.
well, just growing up in, in the family that I did, with my mom, she has a, strong leadership role. I think she was the first president of the National American Librarian Association that was Indian American. She was the dean of Oakland University's library. She always wore a sari to work, and it was kind of funny. People would tell me, "Oh, I sorry." I now I think of that as like a symbol of somebody who's like higher up, like someone who's a boss. And so
Oh,
I never
really?
really thought of it. Yeah,
Interesting.
because like she's the one who ran the whole library. So
Oh, so people
education.
that they because that's what she was wearing,
Right, so it
it
was a
was
symbol of
viewed as
authority, right?
ah, oh,
So,
interesting.
to them,
Okay.
because that's she
I mean, my
always wore
wife is
that.
my boss, regardless of whether she's wearing a sari or
Whatever
not.
she's wearing, right? Okay.
Interesting.
But yeah, so she was always, very education was always important in the family. She
Mhm.
has three master's degrees and a PhD.
Oh,
Her mother was the principal of a school in India, and the family is Christian. It was in a very Hindu area, and the
huh.
school was all Muslim. So I think we
Wow.
both learned
It's
to,
like Devon Avenue.
balance, yeah, balance a lot of different interests, and really take into account different perspectives. My grandfather on my mom's side, he was um, the principal of a college, and that was also in the same town, and it was like an all Muslim college
Huh.
in this Hindu town, and he was a deacon at the church. So
It's interesting, and I think about Devon Avenue, and we love going to restaurants there, and I've worked on campaigns in that area. When I have people who are visiting from other countries, I love to take them to Devon Avenue because I feel like it's unique. I mean, here's a place where Orthodox Jewish residents and Indian and Pakistani residents all live together, very close quarters, and get along
yeah, very happily
seemingly
so. Yeah,
great.
yeah.
All the years I've been in Chicago, I've never heard of any great tension between the groups. And for
No.
all our challenges as Americans, I think places like Devon Avenue, speak to our better angels and show that here people from different backgrounds can get along.
Yeah, they get along and appreciate each other.
Yeah, absolutely. So has she been out on the campaign trail with you?
On and off, usually in Evanston events, because she lives in Evanston. So,
Oh, I've heard
so,
there's
yeah.
I've heard her building is very well organized for this election.
Yes, yes, she has organized it very well. So, shout out to Westminster Place in
Yes.
Evanston. They got on board early. They were like some of my strongest supporters. So,
Excellent, excellent. So now, how many years have you been a judge?
um, 21 years this
Okay.
month. So yeah, I've been practicing law for 36 years. So at this point, I've been a judge longer than I've been a lawyer. But when I got on 21 years ago, it was as an associate judge. So that's a completely different process than what we're doing now. As an associate judge, it's the other judges, the elected judges, who decide who to fill the vacancies. And so I was fortunate under that process because I just had practiced in criminal court, in the Daily Center, had been in private practice and in different divisions. So, I think that process, you really only had to know the 270 odd judges that were doing the voting, as opposed to 5.15 million people in Cook County. So,
well, to me, it seems that a key reason that somebody would want to run for election and go from being an associate judge to being an elected judge is that you'd then have a role in helping select, appoint, and bring new people from diverse backgrounds into the system, because as you said, judges who are elected can help appoint the next class of associate judges. Is that a motivator? I assume that's important.
I think that is a strong
mentor new people in the field.
Yeah, I think that is a strong motivator. Asian Americans are severely underrepresented as full circuit judges in Cook County. There are only 4 of us, including Ketke Steffen, who you were very influential in helping her become a judge. Anjana Hansen, who's in Evanston, and Sanjay Taylor and myself. And Judge Taylor is running in the 9th Judicial Subcircuit, and so we're half the full circuit judiciary. So it's really important that both of us win on June 28th. But yes, as a full circuit judge, you are more influential in the judiciary because you have a say-so on, you have a vote, you have a voice on who can become the next group of judges. So personally, it didn't change my assignment. I'm already in the top assignment that I would love to be in, which is the law jury section of the law division. My chambers didn't change, my cases didn't change, but I did become more influential because I got to vote on the last round of associate judges. And so as a full circuit, you can do that, as well as vote on the chief judge. So that's also a big voting voice that I would not have as an associate judge. And there's room for growth as a circuit court judge, because only circuit court judges can sit by assignment to the appellate court. Only circuit court judges can be presiding judges. And so, I still feel young, even though I've been practicing for 36 years. And so I just thought the next logical step for me was to do this. And I wanted to send a message that I was serious about running. So I did resign as an associate judge and took the commitment of being an appointed circuit court judge from the Supreme Court, because I'd never done that. It was a great opportunity. But I do have to win on June 28th because my term expires at the end of this year.
And cookcountydems.org also has a list of all the Democratic endorsed and slated candidates. So that's an easy URL for folks to remember. And I must say, you deeply impressed all of us committeemen during that process. It was a clear and easy choice to select you to be part of the slate, and your work ethic on the campaign has been outstanding. And
thank you, Raymond.
Yeah, of course. And it's been wonderful getting to talk to you. And I wish you best of luck on election day. And we'll conclude our video and get back to knocking on doors and getting out the vote.
Oh, thank you. Thanks so much for interviewing me.
Of course. See you in the other room.
All right. Bye-bye.
Take care.